goes across the landscape and across the line.
All right.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Sorry to interrupt the creativity. Don't lose the thoughts you were having, because that discussion is going to continue. But I just want to take 5 minutes for the groups to exchange what they've found, to cross-fertilize each other. So could somebody at each table summarize in literally 2 minutes what are the most important things that you think the tool should be doing for you? It'd be interesting to see if you've come up with the same things.
Do you want us to start?
I'm looking at you.
Jackie's got much more pages of notes than I
I know.
Well,
but
me,
handwriting.
she needs some time to synthesize it. We're not going to put it for 10 minutes.
So our starting point was perhaps what Regen have already done. So Wendy was saying that you localised it, and with your soil types and everything related to that, water allocation to see to make it really specific.
Yep.
So which I think we may have already covered that spot. You need to know your starting point and your end point. So what do you want to achieve out of your project? You need to be able to change your inputs. So your inputs would be a variation in your seasonality. So what does it look like in the years with certain changes in seasons? Market price changes as well.
So market price is in ACCU market or commodity market?
Everything.
Or
Everything.
So,
Yep.
right.
So whatever is of value or a potential income.
Yep.
That.
So just to be clear, so you want the tool to be able to run different scenarios to say, and what if the market prices decline?
Yeah,
Should I make the same decision?
Be able to choose your own adventure type thing, and if you don't like the adventure, you go back.
So scenario. So it's scenario modelling. Is that what you're saying?
Oh well, I don't really know, to be honest, but
So is that like you put in the price of water, you put in the price of food, put in the price of
So in Choose Your Own Adventure, everyone reads ahead and you go, oh, I'm dead. Okay, I'll just
Yeah,
go back to the 3 pages when I had a better choice. Yeah.
I'm rich.
Well, rich, yeah.
and also somewhere in. Sorry. Yeah.
An example of that is we had quite a strong discussion about destocking or persevering and waiting on the market to change. So part of that is, well, if you've got that option of making a decision and how it's going to affect your own right. So that's where the choose your own adventure is, where if you take a path and you don't like it, you might lose your head, Jack, but
And I suppose at the top of that, you need to also, at the starting point is you have to decide what you want to be. Do you want to be neutral? Do you want to be positive? Do you want to have a biodiversity? Do you want to be species specific? What does your project look like? So you should be able to just get a few prompts there and choose that. What else did we say?
And that's pretty important as a base point, that
objectives.
Whether you actually, are you looking to just accrue enough carbon to be able to inset your business, or do you actually want to grow carbon and then have it as an asset to be able to sell after you've allocated your insets, which is what you've got, Christoph, in your mind, haven't you? So
Well, you just want to make the requirements.
Yeah, which is your inset. So your basic, do you just want to, basically meet your tax liability?
Okay.
And we also I thought we started to get exciting at the end when we started to talk about species specific and threatened species and biodiversity, and what does that mean for, what are the opportunities there that we can create a story and a narrative around what we have done and what we do and what we're going to continue to do and have a legacy, not only to keep something thriving or coming back or whatever we want to do, but also that's what we do as farming as well. So somewhere in there, I think species specific is important because it tells good stories to your customer. They like those stories.
I was about to put my white dot on and say, who do you think would be the buyer of that story?
or some company that wants a feel-good story.
So you
Yeah,
think,
so-
you think there will be a market for?
Yep.
And I do agree with you, by the way.
Yeah, so there are
about
priority
provenance
species.
and say, you know,
It'd be such good stories at a black hat bar.
Yeah.
Very funny. Big creek frogs and their bastards
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, the banjo, the
Belfry.
So important in these stories because it all
Yeah, they had a
becomes
great year,
political,
didn't
doesn't it? And it's vote.
A good cod bait.
Scoring.
One thing I didn't say that I probably should have was, which leads on from what you're talking about, is that one of the things that is important about this region is it's a breeding ground for a large number of migratory birds, and those birds are internationally migratory. So you've actually got international connections with other countries in Asia and PNG and right through to Japan and even historically through to Siberia, would you believe? So there is opportunity to link the importance of species as the breeding sort of point rather than a point that it goes to apparently have a holiday or just get the hell out of it for a while. They're breeding here.
Okay.
This is the place they're choosing to breed, so it is of huge significance to those species. I think that's a selling point.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to biosecurity.
That's strange. I've just changed my mind.
Migratory birds, absolutely.
Yeah, countries involved here.
So the three we'll start with the three basics, which was what projects, what we'd like out of this is an understanding of what projects that we could, we could do. Which I think is interesting. I would add also not just individually but collectively, so that there is, buying and selling power, negotiating power on it for a better gain, and a really good accounting of what my assets are. So what have I got? What have I got now? What have I got in drought? But what's there for me? Again, there's a collective assets too. Looking at that map, and we've been talking about it, this is, we're all connected by an irrigation system and connected by the creeks and river delta, and connected potentially by our selling groups, by value adding here, potentially connected by the mutual as well. So it's really, there's another aspect to it of a community asset, so a physical community asset, that can better, you can realise more of a premium from. And also, what will help me in drought? So of those assets, what particularly is going to help drought resilience? We want to know where we can get incentives and rebates and grants. At specific parts of that journey, so that that was really nice that the Tasmanian University paid for your $6,000 carbon, but how do we access those wherever we can? Where's the opportunity finder? Or where should we be looking? What to avoid? How to avoid red tape where possible. Is there, if you, there's nothing better than, a neighbour that goes, oh, don't worry about that, do this, and you've just saved a week. That's a gift, that's a box of beer, thank you. That's a gift, you've got to replicate that. Jodie's really talking about literally a digital twin with overlays, Gary as well, with overlays of estimating your value, and again back to that scenario modelling. Really, in fact, Jodie will explain it better. But what under those things, what are the strategies to maximise that value as well?
Yeah, I was just sort of saying it would be great to have a tool that you could zone in on your actual region or your area, your farm, and have an estimation of like you've got all your vegetation communities and what's farmed, what it looks like, which is already there. Like we've already got that information, which is available. But it'd be awesome to be able to have different scenarios, like indicators of how you're scoring at the moment, and then what a higher score looks like, more vegetation score looks like, or, pasture base looks like, and then what strategy underneath, you do to get that. Like,
So like an overlay.
yes.
And then.
Yeah, you can say, well, if look, my score's really crappy, and so I'm doing this, and this. Like, I've got this many head per hectare, whatever, and then I want to get it to this point. What are some of the strategies I can implement? Like, sort of like an educational tool as well as. Yeah, would be cool.
Okay.
And
Beautiful.
then Joe's really keen to send an adjustment bill for the 3,000 black ducks that she's carrying.
Well, if they're so valuable, who's actually paying for them?
Yeah.
Like, they're putting so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really, free riders.
I'd like an
Free
adjustment
riding
bill, and now I can send it internationally. I forgot about the Ramsar
Yeah,
thing.
you
So
send it
thanks.
to Siberia.
Yeah, I've got a few governments I've got to chat to.
You've loaded with money.
Can't talk to us.
Yeah, I like it too.
All of them. Lizards, they've got lots of things. A whole list.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We'd like this magic tool to be available for us.
Well, a good thing, thank you. So
I was green.
take from each other and say, well, that's a good idea, we should have thought about that. Because you're now actually going to design the tool. We're going to close the door and you're not getting out until it's designed. This is the design part. So basically you're going to continue that discussion to refine more what you want the tool to do, but to make that concrete, actually design it. There's some help on your tables. For example, there's one which is printed in black and white, which is something that you've mentioned. What are the assets? It's an assessment produced by LLS. It's a prototype, not a black and white, a little...
This
one that just in front of you. Yeah, this one. Yeah, and this one. And this one.
Quick read. No, this is great because there's
It's
so much in it.
Yeah, so that's an example. That's an example of a paper-based something.
Got it here, my pile of.
So take some time to
I don't think I've got mine. No.
And then just examples, you have other examples of the table, you have screenshots of the MA tool.
Okay, so the tool.
So this
Just hang on a minute, listen to me, stop shuffling paper, stop shuffling paper, stop shuffling paper. I'll tell you what the exercise is and then you can go back to shuffling paper.
you get skin of items.
What the next exercise is about actually designing the tool. And you can think of, thank you. You can think, in the design, you can think about different things. You can think about, a good little set of binder on your shelf that actually tells you, page 1, what are my assets? Page 2, what project can I do? You can think of something a bit more high-tech, like an Excel, where you actually input various, what's going to be my stocking rate, and it tells you what the number of IQ you can get and so on. So you can be a bit more techy. You can think of an app. Point it at your field and it tells you, whoa, it's time to sell those IQs. Something like that. You can think about something even more technical. A robot that, tells you the answer when you come to it. The variation of that actually, which I find interesting, is a human-based version of that. The solution you pick can even be one person sitting in this office that knows everything about everything, and when you want to know, you come and ask that person. Human-based solutions are not necessarily the technology, but you can think about something really technology-oriented, or not, something less technology-oriented, whatever you want, as a base design. For the next, I like this one, that's my grandmother now. For the next 45 minutes, skip that. For the next 45 minutes, or actually 30, because we're running 15 minutes late, break into the same group, you already are. You've got your dots, that's fine. Now build the tool. Say about, okay, the tool we pick is a binder, an app, right? And it should do this. And the first screen that we have is a picture of our property with such layers. Be really specific as to what you want the tool to look like, feel. And importantly, record why you pick the tool format. It's important for us to know, we don't care about technology, it's too hard, I just want to have a binder on my shelf. I know where it is, I can go back to it. Or it's too changing, I just want to have a person to talk to. So record what are the motivations why, what that made you pick a certain format for the tool, and then go into as much detail as you can in terms of what it should do and how it should do it. what are the answers, what, screens you see, what pages you have in it. Okay? So deep down into the design for it. Very good. You have the instructions on your table as well, but it's basically design the bloody thing. You've got 30 minutes.
I'm still not clear about whether we want, sorry.